What's up, everybody? Ben here. I wanted to pick up and do another game room tour. It's been, I guess, maybe about 8 months since I did my last game room tour in March. I did it sort of before the big, season started with yard sales and flea markets, and a lot of things have changed in the past year. I picked up a few collections and people downsizing. I made some changes in how I organize things. One of my shelves completely collapsed. You could see a video in the spring about that. And, it's getting a little colder, and it's really, a good time, end of the year, to take inventory, clean things up, reorganize, think about what I'm going to do for next year when I collect. So, go out to those yard sales and flea markets. So anyway, I felt like it's a good time to sort of step back, record this video, and hopefully you guys like it. I'm very open to suggestions with my game room in terms of organizations, things you like, things you think I should change, so on and so forth. So feel free to leave a comment. It would be super helpful to me if you hit the thumbs up button and like the video. It helps the video get seen. And the game room videos take a lot of time to put together, so it would really help me a lot. And of course, subscribe. I try and do game pickup videos, game collecting videos all the time. So if you want to tune in to those videos too and subscribe and make the channel, help the channel grow, that would be great as well. Anyway, let's get to it. I'm going to go through the whole room. As usual, I'm going to sort of talk about things as I see them. Going to try and highlight things that are new or interesting. If there's things you see in the video and you didn't hear me comment on them, feel free to put a comment. Maybe I can answer your questions. If you have any questions in general about my collection, I've been thinking about doing an FAQ video too. So just feel free to put like FAQ style questions in the comments as well. So anyway, that's it. Let me show you what we got. So why don't I do just like one big walk around the room real quick. This is maybe a 10 foot by 10 foot room or so. Maybe a little bit bigger than that, maybe 12 by 10. I'm not totally sure. In my house, I live in a townhome in Baltimore, Maryland. That's probably about, maybe 1250 square feet, something like that. This is one of the bedrooms in my home. Me and my girlfriend live here. But that's it, and some cats. So, this is just basically extra space for me to have my little game room. And so, the stuff I keep for the collection goes in here. I've been, it's sort of constantly a work in progress. You'll see I made some changes with the Gamecube stuff. I'll show that off a little bit later. It is a small space, so I'm constantly moving stuff around. You can even see, like, I want to show you guys my SNES and Saturn stuff, and there's like a chair I have to move out of the way. But it is a nice little space for this. And honestly, I've been in this house a long time, probably about a little over 10 years. And it's probably time to move and get something a little bit better. But, considering how many things I have, it's been a pretty nice space. You can see one of my biggest challenges is just finding space for more stuff. Like, for example, we go over here to like the Xbox. You can see like my Xbox games are like overflowing at the moment. But whatever, we figure it out. And honestly, I may even downsize some stuff soon if I really need space in specific areas. Let me go to some specific stuff. One thing I don't think I got into before is just sort of how I use my closet space. You can see up here, it's like a lot of arcade sticks and things like that. We have some bins here with some supplies and things. And then these baskets, this little shelf thing, I found at Savers. It's like a drawer shelf thing. And what I use it for is like power supplies and hookups. This is like a Nintendo drawer, so only NES, SNES, like GameCube, power cables, and it looks a little messy, but is actually pretty organized, and things tend to be pretty together as much as possible. You can see here, this is like a Sega one. You can even see I have like a boxed Dreamcast thing, get some controller extensions and things like that. PlayStation, I think, is down here, so on and so forth. Just keeping odds and ends. You can even see I have some other extras in here, like, for example, guns for the NES, other odds and ends and accessories that I use this little closet for. Even some other things down here, like power cords. There's some loose Genesis games, like sports games, in that Vans box. It's kind of not great, but this is another closet I use just for extra stuff. You can see I have an extra orange N64 and Donkey Kong bongos. My Steel Battalion in the box. I wish I had a better place to put this right now, but I just don't at the moment. So it sits in this box in this closet. Down here these are actually boxed like Genesis and SNES and N64 games that aren't very interesting to shelf. And so I'm just keeping them in this bin for the time being. I may even downsize some of this stuff. I just don't have room on the shelves for everything. And so some of my extras I decided to bin up. Over here you can sort of see this is the side of the room next to the closet. I have like a small media shelf here. You know, one of my newer pickups this year was this NES Action Set. This is my second sort of complete in box NES. I think I had this one before. This one that was up here, which I completed by finding the box at a Cartridges Galore in Frederick, Maryland. But this one I got in a trade from my friend Jared. You can see in one of my videos more details about that trade. I couldn't even tell you offhand specifically what I gave up. Probably some GameCube stuff, because that's what he's really into. On top of it, just because it's not too heavy, I put some Mega Drive box stuff. That's Tatsujin, and this is, I think, Thunder Force 4. Some Super Famicom games. This is I wish I could remember what it's called. I'll put it on the screen. It's the point and click Mario. I think it's called Mario and Wario, actually, on Super Famicom. Sort of an interesting game. Super Densetsu 3 or Seiken Densetsu 3. These are excess PSP games I can't fit on the shelf, which I'll show you in a second, as well as some excess Dreamcast games, some pretty good ones too, like Marvel vs. Capcom that I can't quite fit on the shelf. Down here, this shelf is just sort of sitting to the side because I can fit it here, and I'm using it for, you know, big box, 3DS, you know, special edition stuff. Sorry for the glare. I'm trying to use a light so we can capture everything. And then PSP stuff. Most of this is alphabetized, but I'm kind of out of room for PSP games, even though it's one of the systems I'm actively collecting for. I definitely have good some good PSP games. A lot of this stuff, especially the more expensive games, I kind of got when they weren't so much. Like the third birthday here, I think I bought at Second and Charles, I think for $10. That went up quite a bit over the last couple years. Persona 3 Portable I bought for right here. I bought for $20. Persona 5 I found it locally for $5 several years ago. This system's gotten quite expensive. I mean, there's some really good JRPGs and stuff that are just very collectible. Some more items down here. You know, I don't have too many interesting stories. Here's the Vita games down here. I don't have a ton of Vita stuff right now. This is another system I'm actively collecting for. So if you have extra Vita stuff you're looking to part with, hit me up. I love the Danganronpa games. Really got me into the Vita in the first place, and along with Persona 4. I did find this Corpse Party big box, and I can't even say it. Ataware Morono, I can't even say it, on Vita over the summer. Nothing too crazy. Over here to the side, this is like a old CD sort of shelf, so I used it for Dreamcast games, and I'm out of room on it. I've been actively collecting for Dreamcast, and honestly, over the last year or so, I've really done a good job picking up more Dreamcast stuff. Most of these are in order, but I ran out of room on the shelf, so I sort of stopped alphabetizing these, which I know is not great, but you got to do what you got to do when you are running out of space. But I've picked up some good things. Definitely have some harder to find stuff. Over on the other side of the room, which I'll walk to real quick, near my kiosk, which we'll show a little later in the video, I do have some other Dreamcast games in this little thing near the kiosk. These are some of the really higher end games that I wanted to have near my kiosk if I wanted to play real quick. Anyway, let's cut real quick and show some more stuff. So this is the other side of the corner of that room. On top of the shelf, I try and keep a lot of odds and ends, you know, consoles and things like that. You can see it's pretty crowded up here. Some highlights, my Game Boy Pocket Extreme Green Limited Edition. I actually found the box for that last summer, and there was no system in it. Then I found the system online. The system was a lot easier to find than the box. And that is probably pretty expensive to have complete in box right now. I have a sealed SNES controller. That was an interesting find several years ago. It came with that Killer Instinct SNES. You can see I used the Perler characters just to decorate around it. But those came together along with Sparkster for like $100. That was kind of before some of the craze from the last few years, but even at the time, that was a super good deal. I have some boxed Genesis controllers and a boxed Genesis back there, Model 2, some Amiibos, things like that. I put some collector's editions up top here, Bravely Default and Bravely Second. I do love that franchise, Persona 4. I got that PS2. I think that's a pretty recent pickup. Complete in Box PS2. I think I paid like maybe $50 for that and a bunch of games, along with some Genesis stuff over the summer. That was a really good pickup. One of my really nice things here, the N64 Complete in Box. This thing is practically new. Yeah, new old stock. I don't know what is considered new, but I got this as part of a collection pickup, and then the Nes Action Set I talked about before. Then over here, another collection that I'm kind of overwhelmed on at the moment, so I had to sort of scale back my alphabetizing, is PS2. I have a ton of PS2 games. I love collecting for the PS2. I still am picking up actively for the PS2. I mean, it's one of the biggest systems to collect for. It's one of those things that you're actually going to find out in the wild. And, you know, I still, even though I'm kind of out of space, I'm still going for it. I'll maybe show a few highlights here, just on the shelf. All the Dragon Ball games, they're pretty popular. Drakengard and Drakengard 2. You can see some box sets over here. Chun-Lip's gone up quite a bit. That's gotten pretty expensive. Our Tonelico, the Mortal Kombat collection, which I picked up locally. We have a few things over here, nothing too crazy in the back. Oh, Eternal Poisons right there. That's a rare game. I actually traded my extra copy to Pickflip. You should check him out on YouTube. Some more games down here. You know, everything that's sort of double layered here are some of the new stuff, so maybe I should highlight some of those. Picked up a lot of these from Jerome, I remember, recently at Too Many Games. Some really cool stuff. I mean, I basically get anything that's interesting. Like Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex and Monster Hunter 3 were definitely ones that I was targeting. The Dot Hack games, we picked up a few of those over the summer. I did manage to complete another Shadow Hearts game this year. You know, I picked up a few years ago just the loose discs of all 3 Shadow Hearts games on PS2, and I believe I've completed all 3 games now. So I always say this, like, if you can get good deals on loose disc stuff, just go for it. And either you'll find a complete copy later, or maybe you'll get lucky and you'll put together if you're diligent enough. Another one I put together was Samurai Western. This was another one I had disc only, which I eventually completed. I did a trade this year, which got me Red Ninja and Trap. Those are a couple harder to find PS2 games. Jade Cocoon 2, that was a pickup from Jared at Outlaw Games out in Elkton. Another trade I made. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the wonderful things about going for PS2. It's just like, there's always something you can look for, and it's hard to do that with other systems. Down here, I actually have starting to get a decently sized boxed Sega Game Gear collection, I guess. I have a bunch of Game Gear games, which I'll show off in a second, but I made a trade at Too Many Games Game Swap in June to pick up some I found in a store. They're going up a little bit. I think they're kind of neat to collect for. I have some personal fondness for the Game Gear because it was one of my earlier systems. I had a Game Gear before I had a Genesis, because that was what my parents got me. So anyway, more PS2 stuff over here. Some really good stuff. Metal Saga is a pretty hard to find game. Definitely all the Metal Gear games on PS2. I gotta have those. NFL Blitz and NHL Hits. Those kinds of sports games are a lot of fun for this generation of systems, so I'd recommend those. Rez, R-Type Final. There's Shadow Hearts Covenant, another one I completed. Silent Hill 2. I know I have Silent Hill 3 somewhere over here. Moving down here, some more PS2 stuff. You know, I just have a lot of great games. Suikoden, definitely one of my favorite series down here. 3, 4, 5, and Tactics. I bought 3, 4, and 5 as they came out, just because I'm such a fan of the series. A lot of the more expensive games I do have, a lot of them I did just buy when they came out, or I got them when they weren't so expensive. You know, I'm not a big believer in overspending on games. You know, I do pick up a few harder to find things every so often. I will spend money, but you tend to see that if you watch my videos, I'm kind of a cheapskate. I don't like spending a lot. It makes me very uncomfortable when spending a lot of money on video games. So anytime I get an opportunity to get a deal or do a trade or something like that, or if it's just too expensive, I'm okay not having it. And I would recommend you take on the same attitude. There's the other Shadow Hearts game I completed from the New World. Rule of Rose, that was a big pickup this year. A friend of mine from college reached out to me. He was getting rid of some games. That was where I got the extra copy of Eternal Poison. and some other things, some of which I'm still trying to trade. So, you know, reach out to me on Instagram if you're looking to make trades for some of my extras. I have a ton of extras. Moving down here, these are just more games that I picked up. I mean, again, PS2 is just something I'm actively collecting for, so there's always something to get. Firefighter FD18, that was an interesting one because I found first the loose game at a flea market for like $1. And then a few weeks later, I found the case at the same flea market with like a messed up copy of the game. So I put it together probably for like $2. So that was pretty cool. Some other cool games down here. You know, a lot of decent games for PS2 you can get in like the $10 to $20 range. So definitely still, again, just worth collecting for and going for. Dino Stalker was one I picked up this year. I think I got it at a yard sale for $10 or something, or a flea market for 10. There's Silent Hill 3. Yeah, more stuff over here. Fatal Frame. I need to really organize this a little bit better, but I mean, as you can see, I kind of have a storage problem for PS2 at the moment. Even if I tried, I couldn't get all of these games on the shelf organized alphabetically. Let's take a quick cut and then we'll move to the next shelf. I've sort of been progressively moving off of these like sort of aftermarket cases for NES games. So these aren't real or anything. They're just plastic cases with like some printed out art on them. But they're kind of neat to display NES games. I did pick up a bunch of them a few years ago from another collector who was getting out of collecting, period. And I've been using them. I've been using them well. But the truth is, a lot of those games are becoming complete in box games. And so this side of the shelf has been getting a little bit thinner this year, but I have some really heavy hitters on NES. I mean, NES is the system I kind of got me into collecting in the late 90s. And so a lot of games that I have that are pretty expensive on the NES, I had back then. I was paying, 25 cents, 50 cents a game. That's just what the games were going for. DuckTales 2 is like the classic one I talk about because I bought that for 25 cents at a flea market. Chip and Dale 2 was a cheap one. I mean, these were all just like nothing when I picked them up for the most part. And I've spent a little bit of money on NES games since then, but nothing too special in terms of big expenses. I made some at Too Many Games this year, but that was like a once in a blue moon thing. Snow Brothers I got. That's a hard to find game. These are all loose. Some may have the manuals inside. I'm not going to go through them all because I don't think they're all that interesting. Let's go back up here. Excuse me. Game Boy games. These are all boxed Game Boy Advance games, Game Boy Color games. I decided, for the purposes of organization, since I don't have a ton of them, I would just mix all of the Game Boy games together and then just organize them this way. Maybe in a little bit I'll change that and separate them by specific platform. But for now, that's what I'm doing. Up here, just SNES games. These are all loose cards for the most part. And again, a lot of these are getting completed, which I'll show in a bit. But definitely some really nice stuff for SNES. I'm still looking to grow SNES. I don't have nearly as many SNES as I do NES. Always looking for JRPGs, shoot 'em ups, interesting, obscure games. I don't have Hagane, I don't have Pocky and Rocky, but I have some good ones. Yeah. That's it for SNES. Here's some N64, also in the aftermarket stuff, not too many. And then we get into the actual boxed, complete and boxed NES games. I've really grown this part of the collection a lot over the past year or two. I've had opportunities to just buy boxes outright, which has really helped. And I've had opportunities to buy complete and box items and then replace some of my loose carts with complete and box games for not too bad of a price. So I'm going to take a quick break and we'll go through it. Sorry, I needed a quick second. So anyway, NES stuff here. These aren't nothing here too special. One highlight here, Dracula's Curse. Always wanted to have that complete and box. Made a trade with Jared to pick that one up. I, again, forget it was probably for GameCube stuff. Down here, I need to put it on the shelf, just the recent copy of Super Dodgeball. I got the box recently for $10, so I completed that game. That was pretty neat. Battletoads, I think I got the box for. I think it was like a box and cart that I bought only for like $25 or something, but I had the manual in the cart, so I sold the extra cart and kept the manual and then completed it with the box. So anyway, that was a pretty good deal earlier this year. Up here, some more complete in box items. Only missing the Dragon Warrior 2 box and manual to complete that series. I got 4 and 3 over the last year. I've had the carts forever, but I managed to pick up the boxes and manuals and maps and everything just with some good opportunities. The Final Fantasy was one I picked up complete in box. I forget. I know I got it this year. I forget how I got it. Maybe it was eBay, actually. You know, you can still use eBay and get deals every so often, especially if you're willing to make offers or buy bulk lots. Moving down, Mega Man 4. That was one I got complete in box at Too Many Games. Good pickup there. Metroid. This is kind of interesting. I think this is sort of recent. I have both the original gray box of Metroid, which I've had for, I think, a few years now. And then more recently, I got in a trade the Classic Series Metroid box. You know, obviously not is a second version or whatever you want to call it, sort of a Classic Series. But this box looks so cool. So I had to keep it. I wanted to have both versions of it for the collection. Moving down here, nothing too notable. I think Star Tropics I might have completed recently. Mario 2, Mario 3, all those have gone up, which is really kind of silly considering how not rare they are. There's Top Gun and Top Gun Second Mission, 2 not so classics. There's one of my favorites, We're in Time, is Carmen Sandiego. It's got the Atlas and everything like that. I think I picked that up at a flea market for like $10 a few years ago, which is a really good find in retrospect. All right, let's take another quick break. One of my bigger pickups earlier this year was when I bought this guy Sean's entire game collection for $1,500 earlier in the spring. One of the things he had included in the collection were some harder to find handhelds, but also like these rose-colored gaming stands. So I started using them to position my handhelds in different places. So I've got these aftermarket Game Boy Advance games, and then on top I put the my modded Game Boy Advance with the IPS screen, and it's got a flash card in it. As well, the same thing with this white PSP right here. And then I used these black shelves that I was using before, I think for DS games, I'm not even sure. But I took all of my sort of better loose cart Genesis games, and I started organizing them on this shelf. Trying to identify any like really cool ones that I picked up recently that I didn't highlight in other videos. Like I've had Castlevania for a while. I've had Cheeky Cheeky Boys. I've had Gaiaris, another cool game. Genesis, one of my favorite systems to collect for. I don't think it commands the premium that SNES does for some reason. But whatever, I still like it, and I would recommend you collect for it. I mean, you can get a lot of great games, a lot of awesome shoot-'em-ups on the system, for still fairly reasonable prices if you're looking for things that aren't too crazy. Over here on the other side, you'll see I sort of did the same thing. This was one of the pickups from the collection, this modded Game Boy. He did a case swap. It's got the biverted screen, etc. You can see I put some Amiibos around it. There's some import PlayStation and import Dreamcast stuff behind there. My little PlayStation mouse pad in the back. Some more Genesis loose games. Nothing I think that really is too crazy. My loose TurboGrafx games right here. And then here's TurboGrafx 16 stuff. I actually have some pretty decent TurboGrafx 16 games, always looking to grow this collection. Ninja Spirit is a dope game. I would really recommend you play that. Definitely the type of system you can emulate if you're looking to just get an experience. So here's some of my Hue cards and, Japanese PC Engine games. I've got Castlevania, Rondo of Blood. I've got Lords of Thunder, some other games. I'm not going to pull them out. I've highlighted them in other videos. Great system. I love collecting for it, but it gets pretty expensive, so I can't recommend it for everybody. If you check out the other Game Room Tour videos if you want to see more about those PC Engine things. Moving up here, you can see on the top of this shelf, which I kind of hate this shelf, to be honest. I know people recommend it, but I ordered it from Amazon earlier this year. It didn't come to size right. The holes weren't in the right spot. It was a pain in the ass to put together, but it's working for now. On top, you can see my Miracle Piano. That was part of Sean's collection that I picked up earlier this year. It's really cool. To be honest, though, it's so big, I'm kind of questioning whether I should keep it or not. So let me know in the comments what you think I should do with it. Up top, we have the Power Glove. The box is a little chewed up, so I took the glove out and just sort of put it out because I thought it looked cool. Some Amiibos, that striker pad. This is a silver PS2 in box. I remember I got that for like 10 bucks a couple years ago, or 20 bucks maybe, from a local person on OfferUp. That was an amazing pickup, and I think, you know, it was really good at the time, but I think it's just gone up. This PSP Go was part of the pickup from Sean's collection. Another super cool system that I didn't have before. I love collecting handhelds in general. I'll show off my handheld collection in a bit. There's a Galleon Puppet, a Neo Geo mini system that I picked up locally in a trade. I forget what I traded. I might have traded like a Genesis or something for it, but that was another cool pickup. Boxed Dreamcast controller and a boxed Dreamcast. I've highlighted that before. Over here, I reorganized the long box games to fit on this shelf. So first we've got like PS1 titles. Anything... I'm trying to think of anything. Oh, Darkstalkers is a highlight. I got this. Whoops, let's go from the other angle. This was a trade with my pal Joe, I think, from a couple months ago. Really happy to add that to the collection. That gets kind of expensive. Mortal Kombat 3 was a trade that I got, a game I got in a trade over the summer. I think I traded some of the sealed 3DS and Switch games or something. With a viewer. So, yeah, I still like to make trades with viewers. Over here, we've got Sega CD stuff. In terms of highlights of new items, they're probably going to be down here. Popful Mail, I picked that up not too long ago. That is a super expensive game right now. I saw it was going for $600 now. I paid up for it. You can see a video a few... maybe, I'm guessing 6 or 7 videos ago, maybe even longer, where I picked that up along with this bad boy, Shining Force CD, which I had loose before, but now I have it complete in box. So I picked up this complete in box copy. I still have the loose copy. I might sell it on eBay. I may just trade it. I've been holding on to it for now. I don't know why. Those were two big highlights. Wolfchild was another highlight I picked up from Jared at Outlaw Games as part of a trade earlier this year. SNES games. A few new highlights. Final Fantasy 2 and 3 both completed. I forget which ones I had completed before. I know 3 I sort of put together more recently. I think I had 2 before. 2 of my favorite games of all time, especially Final Fantasy 3. I adore Final Fantasy 3. It's my favorite game of all time. Mortal Kombat. Castlevania I had for a bit. Zombies Ate My Neighbors, that was another one I picked up in a trade earlier this year. Another good pickup. N64 stuff, you know, honestly, I don't think I've really picked up all that much N64 complete in box stuff since my last video. I mean, I've definitely gotten a few here and there, but nothing too crazy. I'm very happy with my N64 collection, but just haven't picked up a whole lot for it. I have gotten some loose games. But not a whole lot in the box. Master System is growing. Every time I get a chance to get complete in box Master System games, I'm trying to do so. I've actually been like completing some of these games. Outrun, Phantasy Star, I famously paid $5 for from a lady who had evicted some tenants and put the games on OfferUp apparently. Space Harrier, Wonder Boy, you know, just working on the Master System stuff. Genesis, still one of my favorites to collect for. My complete in box Genesis collection has really gotten great. I had so many opportunities to get like case art in the case of like this Batman. I picked up the case art, which I was then able to use to put in the box. Along with others, Comic Zone I completed. Contra Hardcore was one I completed. Crew Ball, Dinosaurs for Hire. I have some pretty heavy hitters on Genesis at this point, and you know, I still get these opportunities to pick them up, so I've been going for it. Doom Troopers was one I made a trade for with the viewer of the channel. Moving down, I'm not even going to go in alphabetical order. Here's some fairly common stuff for the most part. Hit the Ice I picked up at Too Many Games, really cheap. Haunting I completed by getting some case art. Gunstar Heroes I found the case art for. Grindstormer was a trade. Or no, Grindstormer was an eBay deal. I paid, I think, like $200 for Grindstormer and Wings of War together on a offer on eBay. So that, I paid up for it, but those are two rare games, so I was willing to do it. Flicky was a trade with a local friend of mine. No Escape we found at Too Many Games. You can hear my cat meowing at me because he doesn't like that I'm talking to not him. Phantasy Star 4, I picked up this box at Too Many Games to complete this game, and I think I paid like $40 for it. Maybe more. I don't remember. Ranger X, that was also a trade this year. Sagaya, another one I was really happy to find the box art for and put in a box. As you can see, like, Sega Genesis, I mean, I'm really killing it with some of the complete in box stuff recently. Shinobi 3 was another one I found the box for this year. Sonic and Knuckles, I found that box for $10 at a local flea market. Super happy to get that. Splatterhouse 3 was one I had loose, and I found both the case and the manual this year. I found the case at Too Many Games GameSwap, and then Forgotten Freshness, the same guy who sold it to me, reached out to me on Instagram to sell me the manual, which he found later. Thunder Force 3. This box, a friend of mine, Matt, it's a kind of hard to find game. He had the box just sitting around, and he gave it to me. So that was a super awesome one to complete. I love that game, so completing it was dope. Wonder Boy and Monster World, picked up that box art recently. There's the Wings of War I was referring to, another hard to find game. Yeah, and that's it for Genesis. All right, I need to take another quick break, but we'll move on briefly to NES and some of the other loose stuff. You know, I'm not going to highlight every NES game. I've gone through it before. I have a pretty extensive NES collection overall. You know, I think it's like 620 unique NES games. I did let the cat in, so he's going to meow, whatever. And a lot of harder to find stuff. I mean, the stuff I'm looking for now, for the most part, are like super rare games. You know, I don't have Bonk's Adventure. I don't have Little Samson. I don't have the hard to find Flintstones game. But I'm also kind of not willing to spend the money on them, so I've kind of let them pass me by. I certainly would look to get them if I could, or maybe get a trade for them or something like that. But to be honest, usually the games I'll actually pay money for are probably more mid-tier games. Like, I'm still buying games that are like in the $50 range if I found them. Like, I picked up Scoon at Too Many Games this year because I got it for like maybe 30% off of the going rate. But that's not a $500 game. That's one I can spend the money on and forget about. I definitely have a pretty extensive collection here, though. And again, most of this I picked up way back in the day before a lot of it got expensive. And then I sort of filled in the gaps here and there. Because the system is just getting kind of expensive to collect for when you're going super high-end. Anyway, let's keep going here. Just highlight some more things. North and South, that's a pretty expensive game. There's Princess Tomato, I think, which I couldn't quite get in the frame. Nico. There's Rescue Rangers 2. I wish I had one of those fake boxes for it, or the real box, for that matter. Pugsley Scavenger Hunt is kind of a hard one to find. Here's some more stuff down here. Scoon, as I mentioned before, that was a pickup from Too Many Games. Definitely a harder to find game. Meow. Man, I'm crouched over to do this. I don't know. Of course, you can't see on this end, but it's super hard to get this shot. And I want to get a flash in. Oh, here comes a cat. All right, time to take a pause. I'm not going to go through them all, but you can see over here I put some more shelves up for Amiibos that I just sort of left in the box, and some of the Amiibos I put on top that are out of the box. You know, I don't really care that much about, you know, leaving them in or taking them out of the box. They're not investments for me. There's some extra N64 games that I don't have room for on this shelf. For the most part, these N64... I mean, I have most of the N64 games I want. I haven't been adding that much because I haven't needed that much. There's still games I'm looking for, but again, like, I'm not really willing to spend a bunch of money on Clay Fighter. I'm not really willing to spend a bunch of money on what is it, UFO Bowling or whatever. Like, I don't really care about some of these expensive games so much that I'm willing to spend money on them. But, you know, I think, like, I need a San Francisco Rush game. I need Snowboard Kids 2 still, and I'm still targeting those games. Here's SNES loose carts. Actually, not a whole lot here compared to the complete stuff. I tend to be completing these games these days. Breath of Fire 2 is a hard-to-find game. Final Fight 3 is definitely a hard-to-find game. I picked that up years ago. There's Imperium. That one I picked up from Jared at Outlaw. Some more stuff down here. Some extra sleeves. Magic Sword. Lufia 1 and 2. I think I had one of these before, and the other I traded for with a viewer. I traded, I want to say that Obscure or something on Xbox, and I got one of the Lufia games. That was a super awesome trade. Down here, some more SNES loose stuff. True Lies I picked up from my friend Jonathan in a local trade. That was definitely one I wanted. Actually, a semi-decent game, if you can believe that. And Wolfenstein 3D, picked that up at Second and Charles. One other change I made is I moved the Saturn games down here because I just needed more space. You know, I'm definitely trying to collect for Saturn, but at the same time, I know I don't find it all that often. You can see I put like the loose or sort of missing stuff things up on top. And then down here we have the actual interesting complete box games. Blazing Dragons, another Too Many Games pickup. Dark Savior I got on Facebook. I had a loose copy of Dark Savior, and I found that at Second and Charles. I think I paid like 20 or 30 bucks for it. And then eventually I found a deal on a complete copy. So I sold my loose copy, made a little extra money, and then used it to buy that complete copy. So you can still do that stuff. Dragon Force was a local pickup. I still have a hard time believing I found that one locally. SimCity 2000, fairly recent pickup. Virtual Racing I got from Outlaw. Actually pretty happy to get that. Love Virtual Racing. Highly recommended. All right, that's it for this shelf. I repositioned my Dreamcast partial kiosk. You know, it's missing stuff, along with my Vectrex up here on this shelf because I just thought it was a good space for it. Like between that and the PS1 over here, you know, if you wanted to play any of these things, you could just walk up right up to them and play them. They are ready to be powered on and played at any time. And then below, I wanted to make more space for GameCube games. So I took this sort of like cube shelf, and my girlfriend had this great idea to put like risers in behind them to like use the depth to make multiple layers. So now the GameCube games, I didn't want to put them in alphabetical order because the layers make it kind of hard to do that. But now they're like in these tiers. So again, GameCube was one of those systems I have picked up some new stuff for, and I'll try and highlight it. But for the most part, I'm just sort of maintaining. I'm fortunate enough that I picked up a lot of the GameCube stuff I wanted before the rush, and I'm still finding stuff, but definitely not willing to spend the kind of crazy prices that some people are asking on these GameCube games these days. Getting in here, a few highlights. I traded a copy of Skies of Arcadia Legends that I owned to a local friend of mine, and then found another copy on eBay that I kind of paid up for, but I was willing to do that because I wanted to make the trade for Silent Hill. Kirby Air Ride we completed recently. Down here, let's see, what do we got? Virtual Striker 2002 is kind of a new pickup. Billy Hatcher, that was another one we got in a trade recently that I didn't have. Over on this side, Die Hard, I remember I got that semi-recently. Resident Evil, believe it or not, I did not have until recently. I couldn't believe it myself when I ended up picking it up. Monkey Ball Adventure was another one I found in the wild recently. You know, GameCube games, even though the market's kind of crazy on it, you can still find these games out there at yard sales and fleas. You know, it's not that old. It's not that rare. You know, it's not like these things are made of gold or something like that. Down here, I can't really see anything too crazy. Mega Man Network's new. Godzilla's new. Oh, sounds like we're having a cat argument right now. Fire Emblem. I've had that for a little while. And then, yeah, that's it. All right, moving on to PlayStation. We'll actually start with Xbox. You know, Xbox I've actually had, you know, what I've been looking for a while. All this stuff up here are really more of the new stuff that I picked up. A lot of the games I had before were down here on this shelf, and we've only added, you know, a few titles here and there. Over here you can see definitely a few we picked up recently, like Capcom Fighting Evolution, SNK versus Capcom SVC Chaos, Phantom Crash, House of the Dead 3, stuff like that. And then down here as we go down, you'll see my meowing cat as we move down here. Definitely some other harder to find things. Dino Crisis 3, Fatal Frame 2, some KOF stuff. I do have Outrun. You can see I'm going to try and get in here. I have Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast. That one I picked up. I want to say I paid like $10 or $15 for it a few years ago before it went crazy, just because I thought it was a super cool game. I had to have it. And at the time, nobody gave a shit about Xbox, so I got a great deal on that. A few more other things down here, nothing to write home about. Over here is like PS1. Here's first import Saturn stuff. Nothing too crazy in terms of my imports. More fun to play games. Nothing too expensive. These are some of the more recently found PS1 games that I just don't have room for on the shelf. You can see both Parasite Eve games, Armored Core, Samurai Showdown 3, which I got from Jerome recently at Too Many Games, and a few others, Bloody Roar, Lemmings, oh no, more Lemmings. I kept this Game Boy case here. There is an actual Game Boy in there, just because I thought it was cool. I thought it looked good there. Here on my PS1 actual shelf, I got the actual shelf from a flea market years ago for $5, and it's been perfect. But it's out of space. We'll go real quick through it. I'm not sure if there's like a whole lot here that's actually new. But again, like PS1 is one of my more extensive collections. I have some heavy hitters here. Brave Fencer Musashi, Bushido Blade, Castlevania Chronicles, Symphony of the Night, Final Fantasy, you name it. Dragon Warrior, Dino Crisis, Crypt Killer is a newer one that I didn't have before. Clock Tower, that's kind of and Clock Tower 2, both very expensive games. Gekido is one I picked up fairly recently. Jersey Devil, Guardians Crusade. A lot of the games I'm picking up on PlayStation these days are mid-tier games, just games that I don't have. I'm always looking for weird and obscure stuff. It's another reason why I like collecting for PS1 and PS2. There's a lot of weird, obscure stuff. They just have huge libraries. Yeah, some of the more expensive games, Ogre Battle, for example, I picked up a big PS1 collection from a guy a few years ago, before the pandemic, and I got a lot of those RPGs at a discount, so definitely a strategy you should employ if you're looking to pick up stuff. I try to not overspend whenever I can. NBA Hoops was one I got recently, with a Z. Moving down, and I'm kind of stretching here, so you'll have to excuse me if I'm not getting the best shot. I'm trying to find something interesting and unique, something I haven't shown recently. There's my Suikoden games, both hard to find, but I've talked about them before. X-Files, Xenogears, Wild Arms, Vanguard Bandits, Valkyrie Profile, but I've gotten into all of them. They're not interesting anymore. Just kidding. They're super interesting. It's just like, after you talk about them for a while, I don't know what else there's to say. Anyway, that's it. PS1, tons of stuff. I'm still collecting for it. I just don't know where to put anything anymore. Over here next to the TV and game systems and stuff like that, I started stacking things like my Danganronpa box sets. Behind it, there's an actual Game Gear in the carrying case just to sort of anchor it. Classic systems in the box. I have this little space up here just for handheld systems. As you can see, I have tons and tons of handhelds. I love collecting variations. So like all of these are various PSPs. Like for example, if I can get it out, this is a fairly recent one, this blue PSP, which I kind of like. You can see it's missing the battery cover, but whatever. I have a couple Vitas, Game Boy originals. We have 3DSs right here and DSs. There's a new one, a new 3DS, so to speak. Even a DS in this Pokemon case. Some more Game Boy Advances. This is another modded Game Boy Advance. There's a Neo Geo Pocket Color. There's another, this is Mario & Luigi 3DS, just like the one I picked up in the previous video I uploaded, but this is the one I had before, which is in better shape, so I just am keeping that one. Bunch of Game Boy Advances, DSs, so on and so forth. My 3DS collection's gotten pretty good. I mean, I've been pretty active about getting the harder to find 3DS games as they came out. You can see I've got Fire Emblem, Dragon Quest, the Dragon Ball games, Bravely's. Down here, I've got a lot of the Mario stuff, Zelda, Metroid Samus Returns has gotten kind of expensive. Monster Hunter Stories was one I picked up recently from a trade with a viewer. Down here, the Shin Megami games, they have definitely gotten more expensive. But I got in on them early. I just like those games. Yokai Watch, Sealed, WarioWare Gold was one I picked up recently. You know, 3DS definitely a system I recommend collecting for now if you can, because I think it's going to be hard to get in the long term. Over here is just regular DS, another system I actively collect for. I did pick up the Hits version of Castlevania this year, or Konami's Best, or whatever you call it. So, you know, I found that in the wild as part of a big collection pickup. Love the Castlevania games on DS and Game Boy Advance games. Here comes another cat. Dragon Quest. All these Dragon Quest games on DS have gotten quite expensive. I've got the ones I want for the collection. As we move down here, Legend of Kage 2 is a recent pickup. Lux Pain is one. I don't even know what that is, but I picked it up recently for cheap. Moon is an interesting game. Ninja Gaiden Dragon Sword, I think, is semi-recent. The Pokemon games, you know, these I've had for a while. They've all gotten pretty expensive. And honestly, they're so common, I don't even remember how I got them. But I definitely got them years ago as part of other pickups. And this craze for these Pokemon games, especially on DS, I just do not understand. But whatever, that's what the market's going to do sometimes. More stuff down here. As I said, Solo de Robo, I recently got the box for on eBay, so I was super happy to get that. Anything else notable here? I can't even really think of anything. Nothing else down here either. Oh, one of the big pickups from this year, from the spring, total surprise, Veggie World. I didn't realize when I got this how expensive it was. I thought it was just a shovelware trash game, and maybe it is, but it's expensive and hard to find. It's like $400 now. I picked up that collection for like $150 at a yard sale. I mean, it was just like a random purchase, and it was just another and a bunch of random DS games. I had no idea what it was worth, but that was a super good pickup. All right, let's take one more cut. In the middle of my game room, I have this Nes Controller Table. For those of you who've been watching the channel for a while, I did pick this up in the spring. It's something that was custom made, and you can even see it has like the raised buttons for like the B and A. I mean, none of this is functional, but you could put like your drink on here or something like that. And I think it's really cool, especially because it has a little section you can open. And so I don't know if I actually showed off how I organized it in the previous video, but now this little drawer here is sort of, you can sort of see from up top, is mostly where I keep loose handheld stuff as well as memory cards. So I'm not going to go into all of it because it's kind of hard to go through, but you can see I keep a number of just like loose Game Boy games. You can see those Pokemon games, Zelda, Castlevania, Metal Gear, Game Boy Color, Dragon Quest, so on and so forth. Game Boy Advance, sort of the same deal. I wish I had a better way to display them, but unfortunately I don't. I mean, this is just the way they are. They don't display super great. Game Gear, you can see, and you can see I even have another sort of Game Gear section. These are all in the little plastic cases. Game Gear is one I've been able to really pick up a lot of stuff for over the past year, just because they're plentiful, they're cheap. People don't really care about them that much. You can usually find them, and that's the type of stuff I like to collect. Here's just like a total like bin of like memory cards for random systems. I just sort of shovel them all over here when I find them. Over here, this is just random like decoration stuff. These are loose disc games that I need to complete. Some of them are kind of expensive. You could see Darkstalkers 3 on top there. Einhander was in that pile. These are for all sorts of systems.
Not going to go through all those. Here's some Suikoden bookmarks that I don't have a better place for. This is, here's some more loose disc stuff. A Game Shark, some more Genesis games that are loose that I didn't really have a good place to put. Famicom stuff. Here's the Game & Watch Mario thing that came out last year. Some Vectrex games. Just sort of random stuff that I keep in here. Pretty neat, I thought. Last but not least, you know, we actually have the place where I can play all this stuff. I actually showed this off in a video already, so I'm not going to get into a whole technical demonstration, but the key is that we've got a PVM. This is a Sony PVM. It's missing some of the labels and stuff, but whatever. I don't have it for its aesthetics. I have it to play games on. And then on top, an LED. This is just an LG 55-inch LED 1080p I've had for several years. There's a FrameMeister right there as well. But kind of the key here is this G-SCART, where everything that I have that can do RGB out goes into this G-SCART and then runs out into another SCART cable that can be used either to go into this television or this television, so that I can play basically any of these, like the Sega Genesis or the Sega CD or the PC Engine. You can see I've got a Saturn N64 that's RGB modded. That's actually an HDMI modded GameCube, PC Engine with the Super SD on it, a bunch of PlayStations, a Super NES that's got an RGB mod on it, another GameCube, a PS3 that's modded, a modded Xbox, a Dreamcast, my Neo Geo modded, I'm sorry, this is a consoleized 2-slot, a NES, a Xbox 360, and I think that's pretty much it. But anyway, the point is that for the things that are RGB enabled, they can all go into the G-SCART over here, and then the G-SCART can either go out to the FrameMeister or directly into the PVM, so I can play these games on either television. Or, for example, if I wanted to watch Twitch or YouTube or something on this TV, I could play a game on this TV, which is something that I've done from time to time. HDMI stuff, it's not that interesting. All of it just goes directly into this TV. Anyway, that's how I play games when I'm up here, which is something I do like to do occasionally. I don't just like to collect games. So anyway, that's it. I hope you found this tour interesting. This is just my collection. It's something I work on in my spare time. Every so often, as you see from the videos, I like to pick up games. I buy, sell, trade stuff, and I build the collection that way. I've been doing it for quite a long time. If you have anything you want to trade or sell, you think it would belong better in my collection, you can hit me up on Instagram. Details up here. Please do me a favor, like the video. I would really appreciate it. It takes a long time to record and edit and upload this stuff. That would really be helpful for me so the video can get seen. Leave a comment. Tell me what you thought. Am I a crazy person who does this and needs to get a life? Am I a loser? Should I not be doing this? Yeah, tell me what you think. And then, of course, subscribe to the channel so you can check out all my videos. I'm still doing game pickups. I'm still doing stuff on eBay, collecting advice, FAQ stuff. If you have a topic you'd like to see covered in a video about this stuff, let me know. I'll try and cover it. Anyway, that's it. Stay safe out there. Unfortunately, you know, the public health situation is still tenuous, I guess you could say. And I hope everyone can be safe and do the right thing and be healthy and safe out there. So anyway, that's it. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.